Well, here we are, lesson 11, and we're working on dividing rational numbers. So we just really have to remember our rules. We know that we're finding the quotients, which means the answer to a division problem. So for right now, we're going to ignore the signs altogether and simply do 24 divided by 6, which you should know is 4. And then we look at the number of negative signs. For this particular one, there's only one negative sign. That's an odd number, so therefore our answer is negative 4. Next, we're looking at 15 divided, well, there should be a negative sign there. Let's fix that first. There we go. Okay, moving right along here. Sorry about that delay. Okay, we've got 15 divided by 0.3, or 3/10. So for this one, I know that I can't divide with that decimal there, so I'm going to move it to the end, which means I move it one place, which means I need to move the one on top one place. Remember that decimal goes at the end, just like a period goes at the end of the sentence. I moved over 1, there's nothing there, so I need a 0 as a placeholder. So that now means that I have 150 divided by 3. I know 3 goes into 15 5 times and into 0 0 times, so it's 50. I've got one negative sign, so that's an odd number, so therefore my answer is negative. Next one, I've got negative 4 divided by negative 20. Now be careful here, pay attention, because remember we divide from left to right and top to bottom, just like we read, left to right and top to bottom. So that means negative 4, whoops, let me fix that. Negative 4 is divided by negative 20. So that's just now a fraction that we have to reduce. What's the biggest gazinta they share? The biggest gazinta they share is 4, because both of them are divisible by 4. So that's their largest gazinta that they share. So 4 divided by 4, of course, is 1, and 20 divided by 4 equals 5. I count the number of negative signs. There's 2, so that means my answer is positive. There we go. Long. Continue to find the quotients. Oh, yay, we get to do the math Macarena. This is always so fun. One of my favorite things to do. Hopefully you feel like dancing. If not, you feel like singing. So here we go. Remember, when we start out, we ignore those negative signs and then count them up at the end. So for now, let's just see what we're going to do here. So keep the first, flip the second, then you multiply. Keep the first, flip the second, and then you multiply. Keep the top with the top and the bottom with the bottom. So 2 times 4 is 8, and 5 times 3 is 15. For this particular problem, there are no negative signs. That's a 0, and positive times a positive, of course, gives us a positive answer. Next problem. Here we go. Keep the first, flip the second, then you multiply. Keep the top with the top and the bottom with the bottom. Okay, here we are, top with the top. 9 times 4, of course, is 36. And 4 times 3 is 12. We, of course, are ignoring the negative sign for now. 36 divided by 12, or the gazinta they share, of course, is 12. 36 divided by 12, 12 goes into 36 3 times. I've got one negative sign. That is an odd number of negatives. My answer is negative. Next. Got negative 5 sevenths divided by negative 1/3. Keep the first, flip the second, then you multiply. Keep the top with the top and the bottom with the bottom. 5 times 3 is 15. 7 times 1 is 7. Oh, that little tiny 7 is far too small to hold up that big, giant 15. It's too heavy. So how many times does 7 go into 15? Of course, it goes into it twice because 2 times 7 is 14. What's left over? Well, there's 1 left, and of course that's 1/7. Now this time I actually have 2 negative signs. 2 negative signs. That's an even number. That means my answer is positive. And if you can't remember the rule, remember we just think about the fact that 2 negatives together makes them happy because they get to complain together. So a negative and a negative become a positive. Next. Here we go. Last one on this page anyway. I don't know what's coming next. Keep the first. Flip the second. Then you multiply. Keep the top with the top and the bottom with the bottom. 5 times 6 is 30. 3 times 1 is 3. You already know that little tiny 3 can't hold up that big giant 30. It's going to get squished if we don't divide it. 30 divided by 3, of course, is 10. How many negative signs do we have? We only have 1. That is an odd number, so it's negative 10. That was fun. Right along. Is the solution positive or negative? Oh, we don't even have to do the math on this one. How festive. Okay, so all we have to do is count up the number of negative signs. So in this one, there are 0 negatives. 0 negatives. So therefore, my answer is going to be positive. Because of course, if there's nobody negative around, we all get to be positive. That's fun. Okay, next, I've got 1 negative. Well, that negative is alone. It's an odd number. But of course, we know when the negative's by itself, it's going to be even more negative, and continue to be negative. Also, again, we keep in mind that there's 1 negative, which is an odd number, so the answer will be negative. Next, again, we have 1 negative. That is an odd number of negatives. He gets to be all by himself. Also negative. The answer is negative. And then we've got our final one down here. We've got 2 negatives. So that, of course, is an even number of negatives. So even number we know should be positive, but again, if you can't remember the rule, just thinking about when we've got 2 positive people together, they're of course positive because everything's good, happy, and fun. But those negative Nellies, when we've got 2 of them together, they just get to whine all the time, and that makes them happy. So it's positive. Moving right along. It says, find the solution mentally. Well, you know when it says that, I understand that most of us can do it mentally, but I do like to go through the steps, just in case. We don't want anybody to be confused. Okay. Okay, so this first one, obviously we're looking to find out what A is, and this is a simple multiplication problem. So 3 times 4, we're looking to see what A is equal to. 3 times 4 is 12. Pay attention, there's 1 negative sign. There's an odd number of negatives. My answer is negative. So this first one, A is equal to negative 12. Next problem. We're trying to solve for B. What's the opposite of times negative 3? That, of course, would be to divide by negative 3. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other, so that we keep our seesaw balanced. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 cancels out. I'm therefore left with B all by itself on one side. 12 divided by 3, we know is 4. I've got 2 negatives. That is an even number of negatives. So that is a positive answer. So B equals positive 4. Next problem. I've got negative 12 times C equals 12. So my variable is being multiplied by negative 12. So the opposite of multiplying by negative 12 is, of course, dividing by negative 12. Both sides get divided by negative 12. Any number divided by itself, negative 12 divided by negative 12, cancel out. They become 1. Of course, that leaves us with c by itself on the left side of that equation. 12 divided by 12. Well, anytime we've got a number that's the same as the bottom number, that of course is 1. And then we have to pay attention, there's one negative sign, so the answer is c equals negative 1. And our last problem here on this page, d times 24 equals negative 12. What's the opposite of multiplying times 24? Dividing by 24. Both sides, we have to keep things even on both sides. 24 divided by 24 is actually 1. They cancel out. That leaves us with d on the left side. On the other side, we've got 12 divided by 24. Well, we can see that the numerator is smaller, so we really just need to see if we can reduce that. In other words, what's the gazinta they share? Well, the gazinta they share, the biggest one, of course, is 12. 12 divided by 12 on top is 1. 24 divided by 12 on the bottom is 2. You might have already been able to see that that was 1/2, but just in case, we go through the steps. And then, of course, there's 1 negative. That is an odd number of negatives, so my answer is that d equals negative 1/2. Here's a list of the highest and lowest elevations on each continent. Okay. Which continent has the largest difference in elevation, and which has the smallest? Again, still looking at the difference. Okay, so if we're looking at the difference, we just simply need to subtract the highest point, whatever's, way up top, and we're going to subtract the bottom point so that we can find this distance in between. I've already gone ahead and set all of these up, but just to be clear, to make sure that we know what we're looking at, we know where the highest point is right here, so we're going to have this column, and we're going to subtract, because we're looking at the difference, that means we subtract between this number here. So right there, that's actually the expression that we're going to write to solve. I've gone ahead and done that, set us that. Here we are. So, first one we've got Europe is 4,810 minus negative 28. We get to cha-cha-cha. If you don't cha-cha-cha, you'll get it wrong. So we get to stay, change, change, cha-cha-cha. Stay, change, that minus it changes to a plus. Change, that also changes to negative, changes to positive. Cha-cha-cha. If you don't cha-cha-cha, you won't get it right. Okay, 4,810 plus 28. Well, I really just need to look at the last two digits for right now. 10 plus 28 is 38. So that'll give me an answer of 4,838. That's the difference for the highest elevation and the lowest point in Europe. Next, Asia. Stay, change, change, cha-cha-cha. I hope you have as much fun as I do cha-cha-chaing. Okay, so we're adding these together again. So let's take a look at this. I've got 8,848 plus 427. Well, I can do that in my head, and probably you can too, but let's just make sure so that we're all, doing this together. Let's line them up, because I know sometimes when we add, it can get confusing if we're not careful that we stack the digits right on top of each other. So I know that my first number's got 4 digits, and my second has got 3, so I want to make sure that they are stacked exactly on top of each other. Then I've got 8 plus 7. I go from, instead of left to right like I read, I start from the far end, the ones place. 8 plus 7 is 15. Carry 1. 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 2 more is 7. 8 plus 4 is 12. Put the 2 down, carry the 1. And 1 plus 8 is 9. So over here, for Asia, it's 9,275. I believe these are all in meters. They sure are. I'm going to put meters there. We don't want to forget our labels. No naked numbers. Okay, Africa. Woohoo! Stay. Change, change, cha-cha-cha. 5,895 plus 155. I'm going to hold off for a second on this one before I do anything, because look at something. If you're paying attention here, you know that both of these end in 5. And this one is actually 895. If I take away the 5 from here and add it right on, that's actually going to give me 5,900. Right? And then I'm only left with 150 here, and that's very easy to add together. So 5,900 plus 100 is, of course, 6,000, plus another 50 is 6,050 meters. That was fun to do. Next, we've got Australia. Stay, change, change, cha-cha-cha. 4,884 plus 15. Well, 4,884 plus 10 more would give us that 94, plus another 5 is 99. So that means my answer here is going to be 4,899 meters. I do hope you people aren't using your calculators, because you're not going to be allowed to use the calculators on the test. Or on RICAST, that's coming up. Okay, 3 more to cha-cha-cha. Stay, change, change, cha-cha-cha, cha-cha-cha. 6,198 plus 86. You know what, this is one that I think I might want to stack one on top of the other. I'm going to go right up here and do that. 6,198. That is an 8. Goodness gracious. Sometimes these stylus are not very easy to write with. I'm adding 86 to it. Okay, so 8 plus 6, of course, is 14. That is 14. Carry 1. 1 plus 9 is 10. Plus 8 more is 18. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. And 6 is just hanging in there. 6,284. Whoops. 6,284 meters. Woohoo! Next, South America. 6,960. Oh, stay, change, change, cha-cha-cha. Huh, that was terrifying. I almost forgot to cha-cha-cha, and then I would have gotten it wrong. Whew, close call. Okay, 6,960 plus 105. If I add 100 to that, that will get me up to 7,000. That would be 7,060 plus 5 more, right? Because I bumped up the 100. And now 5 more is going to give me 7,065 meters. One more to go. Stay, change, change, cha-cha-cha. Oh, this is fun, adding 50. 50 is half of 100. That makes things fun to do. So if I did add 100 to this, that would bring me up to 4,992. And 50 less than that would be 4,942. And that, of course, is still meters. And now I have to go back and make sure I answer the question as to which one is the largest difference and which one is the smallest. So if I go right through these, I can quite easily see that the largest difference is right here. Asia has the largest difference. And then the smallest difference is Europe, which is the smallest. There we go. That's it. We're done. Okay. See you next time.